War, inflation, and stock market uncertainty, and all after a global pandemic. It's no surprise that you feel uneasy about the future. There's so many things out of your control, but your finances do not need to be one of them. Since 2016, we've helped people just like you to secure their finances in gold and silver outside of the banking system, so that they don't get battered by the financial storm that isn't going to end anytime soon. Precious metals are in demand more than ever before as people realise how financially vulnerable they really are. Our message is simple. Don't wait. Don't be at the back of the line. Visit goldbusters.co.uk and see how we can help you today.
Here we go. This is a very, very special occasion. I've got both Fred and Richard Fairbrass. For those people of my age, we fell in love with these two guys many years ago, back in the 80s, with I'm Too Sexy. And what a great piece of music, because it's lasted right through the years.
Yep.
And even my 12-year-old son knows the song.
Good man.
So it stood the test of time that You're Too Sexy.
Yes.
And right now, that kind of humour will get us through this shit show.
Well,
I think so.
yes, I agree with you. I think ridicule and humour is absolutely essential.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
It is. And I often think, what would happen nowadays if this woke brigade saw Benny Hill?
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Forget it. You can absolutely forget it.
They'd have a colony.
Oh,
I was watching. There's a Black American comedian who's sadly passed away now called Patrice O'Neill.
yes.
I love Patrice O'Neill, and he was doing this whole thing about Indians and Pakistanis in America, and he was doing that, the accents and everything. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way he could do that now.
No.
It's, and it was very funny. He wasn't doing it maliciously. He was just observational comedy is what it was.
Yeah. Well, on that woke note, we've just been cancelled from a literary festival called Louder Than Words that happened in Manchester every November, and we've got an autobiography out. But now we've been cancelled because apparently we're transphobic.
Yes.
It's incredible, isn't it?
I had a friend many years ago who transitioned from male to female.
Yeah.
And it never crossed my mind to be judgmental. It was just his decision.
And it didn't need a label.
And it didn't need a label. He didn't need to be an activist to do it. It was a personal decision of his. And I supported him completely. He's now married. Well, she's now married. And hopefully happy, you know.
Yeah.
You like me, have travelled the entire planet. And every country has amazing people in it.
Yes.
And it has some pretty dodgy ones. Fortunately, all the dodgy ones work in government.
Yes.
But they're easy to spot.
Yeah, they are easy to spot. Yeah. That's
But
exactly
normal
right.
folk are lovely people.
They are 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm sure the same for you. The aggro we get online is never manifests itself on the street. Never.
No.
Never does.
No, people are nice.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
are really nice.
There's some great people out there in the world, and if we could just get out there and just embrace it, you would know it from being on tour for many, many years.
Yeah.
And meeting people from every walk of life.
That's right. Yeah.
I've learned it on this journey. When I go into America, I'm not a musician. I'm just an old bloke that's telling a story, and trying to get across. And the love and affection from people is unbelievable.
Yes.
So you guys must experience that. That most of the people out there.
Yeah, we do. People are lovely. The sort of the haters, as they say online, they never come up to you in the street, and I'm not sure they even exist. I think most of them are bots, and whatever.
And sometimes you check and they've got 3 followers.
Yeah, they've got 3.
Or whatever it is.
And it's the 77th Brigade or the digital first responders, or just a couple of angry people.
Well, I can tell you from my audience, they're very, very proud of people like you that have stood up.
Good.
And it's a real mark of who's real in the music world.
Yes.
And you're going to become massive successes again, because music will get people out of this stuff.
Yes, it will.
I agree.
Music is really important.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
It's really important.
And it's amazing how many artists have just seemingly kept quiet or complied. Extraordinary. Back in the 60s, the whole point of pop music was to not be anti-government, but to highlight injustices and just point
to things,
point the light on
it,
but shine a light on it. But now, if you do that, apparently you're your conspiracy theories.
Our biggest laugh was Rage Against the Machine.
Yes. Yeah.
Their rage has become slightly niggled.
Yes.
Niggled. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
It's amazing how. I noticed the other day that Sting made a statement, which I thought was very powerful.
Yes, he did.
Waking people up.
Yes, he did.
Pink Floyd, before they came on stage, put up on the backstage an awful lot of red pill stuff that was like, wow.
Oh,
Wasn't
did they?
expecting that.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Did they? Oh, good for them. I'm pleased to hear that.
I think
Yeah.
it's unraveling ever so slowly.
Yes, it is.
I'm reading Jack Kennedy's Robert Kennedy's the real Anthony Fauci, which is a bit of a wade through because it's actually chock a block with detail and information, but it gives you a clue as to what these people are like and how long it's been going on for. We think it's been going on for 2 years. It hasn't. It's been going on since the Second World War.
Yeah, has it?
Yeah.
Well, I go back to when I was first told this was going to happen, and I keep saying it's 10 years ago. It's now 12 years ago because we've been in this for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the first person to be told, Richard. I can assure you.
Right.
I wasn't. I was told about this 12 years ago that they were going to shut down the world's economy for a global financial reset.
Right.
It didn't mean a lot to me then. And then about 6, 7, 8 years ago, they told me it was going to happen soon.
Yep.
And then in November 19, they said, we're going to do it next year.
Right.
And so I had the insight, but this has been planned for a very long time.
Absolutely right.
And everything that's gone on has been planned very, very carefully.
Yep.
And I was unaware that there was 2 financial resets in play.
I didn't realize that, actually. No.
There was the Klaus Schwab, the New World Order, the World
Yeah.
Economic Forum, which is what we class as the bad side.
Right.
And just by the grace of God, it wasn't by choice. I can assure you, I was working on the good side,
Right.
which is the quantum financial system.
Right.
Okay.
And that means that everything is gold backed and that we have our sovereignty, we have our divinity,
Right.
Yeah.
and we're in control of our destiny.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay.
Exactly.
So you think these two are going head to head? Is that how you see that?
I can assure you that the bad side have already lost. We're going through a pantomime right now so that people can see what could have happened to wake people
okay.
up.
Right. Okay.
That you will own nothing and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
That was their theory.
Yeah,
and it
was,
wasn't due to come until 2030.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And so they had plenty of time to keep us locked down and keep us in pandemic, keep us in fear so that we were gagging for this. Oh, give me this. And
yes, exactly.
Operation Warp Speed was put into play to
Right.
speed them through,
Right. Exactly.
and expose everything. And it's now being exposed hugely, which is
it is.
yeah.
I think, Charlie, I think one of the most difficult things is to persuade people how bad some people are. If you've grown up in a fairly supportive family and a fairly supportive workplace relationship, and you've got good friends around and all that, it's very hard to imagine that some of these people are quite as bad and quite as ill disposed as they are. There's a guy who lives next door to us, and we try to explain the people that you elect don't care about you, mate. They really they don't care, and he finds it almost impossible to believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's brainwashing. They've been, and like I stopped watching the television 3 years ago. It's probably the best thing I ever did.
Yeah, I go straight to Netflix or Amazon Prime if I want to watch something, and bypass all the terrestrial. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love my football. I love my motor racing. But I've had to stop watching that because of all the subliminal stuff.
Well, there's that as well. Yeah, no, you're right. I do believe that is in there. Yeah, I'm conscious of that. Yeah, exactly.
It is.
It's very. Also, we've had we released a autobiography a few months ago, and it was amazing the cancel culture that kicked in then. People just HMV cancelled us, Rough Trade, Sister Ray, and Waterstones all cancelled us.
Yeah,
I mean, in those same shops will have stuff by Gates or Fauci or even maybe Mein Kampf from Hitler. But God forbid they would have a right.
Strangely enough, we had incredible support from W.H. Smith.
W.H. Smiths have been brilliant.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that weird, isn't it?
So all these little trendy companies, like Rough Trade or Sister Ray or whatever, absolutely not. They were more conservative than the most conservative arrangement you can imagine. But W.H. Smith, who have been around for 200 years or 300 years, I think, were completely supportive and have been really, really good.
Speak as you find.
Yeah, so you have to speak as you find. Absolutely.
Don't you just? But I've said on this whole journey, this is the Great Awakening, and people are waking up. And when you shine a light in a dark place, you see things you really never ever saw when you were in that dark place.
Exactly.
That's true.
And now we're seeing some pretty
freaky stuff.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is,
Yes.
and we did honestly believe that they had our best interests at heart for years.
I have to say, you're 100% right. I actually thought that up until sort of when the band started to break, and I saw the lies that were writing about us, and I thought, well, if they're lying about us, they've got to be lying about everything else. We haven't been selected.
Yeah.
You know, so at that point, for me, the wheels started to come off in terms of me believing the mainstream media.
And also the weird thing was that, you know, prior to this, you know, I'd grown up with the idea that politicians should not really be trusted completely. You know, always keep your eyes open, always add a little bit of salt to everything they say, and bear that in mind. But then when the COVID thing happened, they were the fountains of all knowledge.
Oh God, yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? They were completely trustworthy, completely informed, completely fair and unbiased. It was extraordinary to me, the degree to which, I mean, I was in the supermarket, yes, only yesterday I was in the supermarket, and there was a woman there wiping down the handles of the baskets.
Wow. Yeah.
Two and a half years on.
Because those handles are killers, mate. They will get you every time.
Oh,
you know.
I tell you, you talk about the misleading and the way that they lie to us and they mislead us.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a video yesterday that blew my mind, and it was all the British MPs swearing their allegiance to King Charles.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Not one of them said King Charles III.
Right.
Oh,
They've sworn their allegiance to somebody who died 300 years ago.
Not a bad plan.
And I'll guarantee you one thing. They would know that.
Yes.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
Yes.
So for anybody watching us that's waking up, do a little bit of research.
Yes, that's
Why
interesting.
would they not say the third? What does that imply then? I'm a little.
Prince Charles is not legitimate.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right.
He's not legitimate, and even most people of our age know that the Queen wasn't legitimate. She was a lovely old lady, but she's not legitimate. She was German, Saxon-Coburg, changed to the House of Windsor.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. So if it's not King Charles, who would it be? Who would be? Is it that bloke above a chip shop that's?
Yeah,
you heard about him?
This is what we don't know, because like the research that we've done is we've now established that even Prince William is King Juan Carlos's son.
Right.
Really?
Okay, right.
Yeah, and then most people knew William was James Hewitt's son.
Yes.
So it's messy, to say the least.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I mean,
there's an awful lot of.
I mean, my problem with King Charles III is this whole WEF thing. I don't think he might try and stifle his enthusiasm for lobbying initially, but I think in the end it'll unravel. And I think and my question is who is he answerable to? Is he answerable to the subjects over which he presides, or is he answerable to the phone call from Schwab?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, and I think we need to know that. I don't think it's fortunately with the Queen, she was coronated before she'd even had a chance to start, you know, messing around with different lobby groups and pressure groups. So her history was fairly sterile in that respect. And even now, we still don't know what she thought about many, many things. Even Brexit. There was a minister talking the other day about, she asked him about Brexit. And he said, we talked about it for about 20 minutes. And I still, at the end of it, had no idea whether she was for it or against it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the gift that she had, I think. But I don't think that's going to be true of Charles somehow.
No.
Also, the Stone of Destiny.
Yes, that's right.
That wasn't there.
Was it not? I thought they were going to bring it down.
Yeah, they were going to bring it down. They didn't.
Oh, too heavy, perhaps.
Because I was joking. You'll probably find it in Trump's safe.
Yes, exactly.
Because I've got that naughty sense of humour. But
it's a weird conflation of everything right now, isn't it? You've got the American situation which is right on the cusp.
It is, yeah.
You've got this mental situation with. I mean, Trudeau is now. That guy in Cuba, he's the son of
Fidel Castro's son.
He's Fidel Castro's son.
Yeah.
And then you've got the maniac Zelensky pouncing around in 1999 in New York in a pair of leather pants and a
I mean, whoever created this pantomime has got a very naughty sense of humour.
They have, yeah. Well, what's your feeling, Charlie, about the midterms? How do you see those going?
I don't see them happening. I think it will collapse just before them, from what I understand from the inside.
Okay.
Because the guys behind the scenes, I was speaking to Kash Patel 2 days ago. I've spoken to a number of people. They can't go into the elections. There's two sides here.
Right.
The Democrats won't want to go into the elections unless they can rig them, because they'll lose badly.
Right.
The good guys can't go into the elections knowing that the systems are still corrupted.
Okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
at the moment, there's a very fine balance. It's very, very clear. I know a lot more than I'm allowed to say too much about.
Yeah.
In the last election in 2020, the quantum voting system was watching everything that was happening. So they know the actual result. And it was 80-20.
Okay.
And it's got worse since then because of the collapse of the US economy, and the border issues and everything. Everything. It's got worse. So forget everything going red in the States. It would go more than red. It would have.
Right.
Every state went red last time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're in a very embarrassing position. In their world, in their ideal world, they need to arrest Trump before this happens. That would be a very positive thing, because it would show that the White Hats are totally in control.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Exactly.
So they're between a rock and a hard place right now. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out.
So, Charlie, when you say that midterms might not happen, how would that happen? How would it not happen?
Well, it would not happen on the basis that there's now a mountain of evidence out there to say that the election was stolen in 2020.
I see.
It would
Okay.
then mean that that Trump could legally, he could serve the remainder of the 2 years,
Oh.
and he could run again in 2024 legally.
Right.
One thing with Trump and his team, he's doing everything by the book.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Because the other guys are now desperate. They're trapped and they're making mistakes, and they're doing things that are illegal. They're
Right.
against the Constitution. They're against everything at the moment.
Right.
It's
Right.
mistake after mistake. So it's become, the Trump team and the White Hats have been very, very naughty. They're teasing them. They're provoking them. Even if you look at Trump's Mar-a-Lago, when they raided it,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything that was in his safe, when it went into the safe, was classified.
Yes.
He declassified everything,
Which he's allowed to do.
He's allowed to do
which
that.
he's allowed to do.
Yeah.
So now they've taken everything; it's been declassified, so it can come into the public domain, and
Right.
they don't want that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that they've literally, he's dug a lovely big hole, and they've jumped in with both feet.
Right.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's
Right,
quite
right.
entertaining to see how it plays out. And when I'm face to face with these guys in Pennsylvania next month and in Nashville, I'll be able to find out an awful
Okay.
lot more. But I find this sort of thing rather funny.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
one of the things that made me laugh was that Trump was saying how outraged he was because the FBI agents didn't take their shoes off when they walked into his bedroom.
Yes, yes.
I thought that was great.
Yeah,
You know.
you know that there's complete wind up at the moment. It's-
Yeah,
Of course. it
And
is,
the other
yeah.
thing is you only need to think he knew they were coming, because
Right.
they asked him to turn the CCTV off, which he refused.
Oh, okay.
And that was in the media.
right. Really? Okay.
So you wouldn't ask him to turn them off after they'd visited, would you?
No, exactly,
No,
exactly.
So he knew they
Okay.
were coming.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
I didn't know that. Wow. All right.
It is.
Right,
It's
yeah.
a very. I think it's. I mean, every country you look at is in a state of some. When I read the thing the other day in Sri Lanka, the inflation rate is 70%.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, it's very hard, and sometimes I think, well, we'll leave the UK, stuff it, we're fed up with it, and then you think, well, where do you go?
Mm,
Where do you go that's got a semblance of sanity to it?
Yeah. very
Well,
difficult.
Australia's central bank went bankrupt 2 days ago.
Did it?
Seriously.
New Zealand's central bank went bankrupt 3 days ago.
Right,
China went bankrupt 10 days ago
right.
Okay.
from the fiat currency.
Yeah,
Yes,
Fiat
yes.
currency.
Yeah.
So it's all collapsing, but mainstream media is refusing to cover it.
Yeah.
Of course they get.
Well, they're taking money from Gates.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Big Pharma. Big Pharma's the biggest investor in commercials on commercial TV.
Yeah,
is.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Extraordinary.
It is. It is. I mean, when you actually see the sort of the direction of travel and the degree to which the money that's been spent from Big Pharma, from federal, a lot of this big money has come from the federal government. It's American taxpayers' money
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
that they've been playing with.
Yep.
It's extraordinary. And I think it's going to be a long slog to get these people out of place. You know, I think I'm really hoping Trudeau loses the election. This Conservative guy is snapping at his heels.
Well, it comes down to whether the votes count or not.
Well, that's true.
That's exactly
true.
right. Yeah,
the one thing that I was very, very surprised at is as I had insight into what really happened in the elections in the UK and the Brexit vote.
Right.
I saw the real figures as to what really happened. It's nothing like what Brexit was something like 75% in favour of leaving.
Was it?
But they paid a fortune to keep in the European Union, a bit like Hillary Clinton did, and still lost.
Right.
Okay. Right.
So the margin was nowhere near as narrow as we are being
The margin was nowhere near as narrow.
Right.
But from the good guys' point of view, it was critical to get the United Kingdom out of the European Union as part of the destruction of the EU.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's a failed experiment.
Yes.
It seems to be.
It seems to be.
Yeah,
Well, when we were doing a radio tour just prior to the Brexit vote, and what was interesting is that some of the areas like Darlington, Wolverhampton, Sunderland, you could see those places were going to vote out. There was no money there. There was no infrastructure, no hope. You know, I remember. I think it was Wolverhampton. We went into a shopping mall, and nearly every single unit was boarded up.
Yeah,
it's just, you know, and I remember thinking, if I lived here, I would vote out.
Yeah,
because all you see on television is all about the wine that they're drinking and the lunches they're having and the flights they're having and and you think, hold on a second, I can barely afford to heat the house.
Yeah,
it was inevitable to me. Once you saw what was going up in the Midlands and up north, it was inevitable. It seemed to me.
Yeah,
well, for people that are watching the show, you've made a very important point there, because we have a lady that we're linked up in the UK with that is now legally exiting people from paying for their electricity, their gas, and their water legally.
Oh wow!
How do you do that?
Exactly. Well, now I will put the link in down below for that, as well as your new songs. She's an amazing lady.
Wow!
And if you detach yourself from the corporation that you were created at birth, become a living soul.
Yes.
She'll go through the whole straw man process, and then it's the electric meter that you have in your house.
Yes.
If you change supplier, they don't change the meter generally, unless they want to put in one of these new smart meters, which is bad for everybody.
Absolutely.
So what you do is you terminate the contract.
Right.
Then her people will come and put a meter in so that you don't break the law. You're not stealing the electric.
No.
You don't have to pay for it. You only have to pay for the meter. And once you've got the meter in, and now they've got a team of people putting cages in there, because the electric companies are coming in and replace them with a smart meter when you're not watching.
You've got your meter in a cage.
Exactly. You've got your meter in a cage, so they can't. And they said, oh, you can't have that meter because it hasn't been approved. Now they've got the full approval certificates as well. They are approved and everything is done. And once you do the electricity and the water and the gas, once you've done the first three, then we can teach you how to get rid of your mortgage too.
Well, I was the first time I really became aware of this whole common law thing.
Yeah,
was with the car. And when it says you're the keeper of the vehicle,
registered keeper,
you never own it.
No.
Yeah,
it's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, it never dawned on me that.
Yeah, language in the detail.
Yeah.
Well, you look if you buy a house and you get the title deed.
Right.
It has a lot number, which is lease of title. The land belongs to the Queen. No matter how long you've got lease of title for the rest of your life, but it still belongs to the Queen.
Really?
So we're all dismantling this right now.
Right.
So you get these wealthy people. No, I own my car. No, I own my land. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Lease of title there, and you're a keeper of your car.
That's true. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
It wakes people up in a hurry.
Absolutely.
Absolutely
I'll be
right.
very interested to see this link you've got from this lady. That would be very interesting.
Yeah,
She's absolutely amazing. She's on Telegram.
Oh,
She's
okay.
now got 2 or 3 groups, because the groups have got so big.
Yeah.
And her husband and his mates are doing all the replacements of the meters. The critical thing is on this journey is to do it within the law.
Yes, absolutely right. Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll get bailiffs knocking at your door and threatening you.
Yes.
So there's always a way to do it.
Yes,
absolutely right.
exactly.
That's
Absolutely.
interesting. I shall. I'll send you an email about that. I'll be interested to get
The other thing.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah,
Brilliant,
thanks, Charlie. Yeah, the other thing we were told about was about the birth certificates and the colour of the ink.
Yes.
Yes, and the fact it's all uppercase.
And it's all got, yeah,
It is,
all that,
it is.
all that. It's stuff that you wouldn't even imagine, you know.
You don't notice it.
No, you
No,
don't.
you don't.
No.
I think my favorite from the early days, from 2 years ago, was when a policeman comes to the door and he asks you if you understand.
Yes,
And that means, do you stand under me? Because
Yes,
he
that's
has
right.
no authority over you unless you give it to him.
Ah,
right, okay. So if you say
Legally,
no,
right.
So if you say, no, I don't understand, I educated somebody on everything to say. And a policeman came to the door and all he could remember is, I don't understand. He said,
Right.
I must have said it 25 times in the end the guy left.
Right.
That's all he remembered. I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't understand.
absolutely
Right.
right. Yes.
So
yes,
if you
yeah.
understand, you give
Stand
it,
under.
you stand
You've
under
given
it.
him the authority. And if you've given him the authority, he can
Right.
do what he likes.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Heaven's
I-
sake.
I do not understand. You're on a t-shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do not understand. But these are very
Perfect.
simple things. And for people like you and I, when we do it with humor,
Yes.
the penny drops a lot quicker. But
You
I
can't,
will
no.
say on a positive note, I did a show yesterday with Lee Dawson. The good doctors of this world, the good ones,
Yeah, yeah.
have now found a way to clear this rubbish out of your body.
Oh, they have they?
They have, and they've been working for 2 years trying to find it. And of course, we've got some great doctors and nurses out there that are not
Absolutely,
part
mate.
of the system
That's
Yeah.
true.
who've managed to do it, and I'm very grateful for them.
Okay,
So-
brilliant. That is great news.
That is good
Yeah.
news.
really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anyway, enough about politics. How's the
Yes.
music going, boys?
Music's been all right. We've just had our 4th US #1 co-write because with Beyonce, and last year it was with Drake. So so we've been very lucky on that front. Show's very quiet because we've been cancelled.
Yeah.
So they are picking up for next year. In the studio doing a new song, and the last couple of tracks have performed well. So we sort of had to rebuild we had to start again.
You had to rethink.
Yeah, because we weren't prepared just to sit around and let them to define who we are and what we do. So we've been changing different things, starting our own podcast, doing different things online, and then we went on a book tour, and we did some little installs with W.H. Smith. And so yeah, you having to we can't go back to where we were because we're not allowed to. So we're having to think fresh. But it's actually been it's challenging but quite interesting.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's been really, really difficult. We were talking to Matt Hoy the other day from UB40.
Yeah.
And he was saying how difficult that you get. So you spend your entire life on stage doing things, and you're used to that interconnection with people and mixing and everything else. And then suddenly overnight, you're locked down in your house. And in this book I'm reading, they reckon that the isolation of people over a period of at least a minimum of a month is the equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day for a year.
Really? Cool.
Wow.
Yeah. In terms of the damage it can do to people, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
So we've had to learn. One good thing about the lockdown, I wouldn't recommend it as a lifestyle, but we were out doing festivals pretty much all the time. And so when you're doing that, you're always thinking about the audience and what kind of stuff you should be writing for the audience.
Yeah.
And obviously, when the audience is not there, you're put back on your heels as to what kind of stuff you actually want to do. So we've written songs that we would never have written if we were still going out and doing live shows.
Yeah, it changes that
So
perspective.
that's been a good thing.
It has, yeah.
It's been a good
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
It has. Yeah, I think that side of it I've quite enjoyed, and also we've had to rebrand ourselves because other people are busy. Other people are busy rebranding us for us, so we have to take the lead and do it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't have other people determine who we are.
Exactly.
That's positive. I like that. that.
You have to. Yeah, you have to. You just have to. Some of it's a bit of a struggle. I have to say, it's a bit weird, but but it's been a very educative. And also through this whole thing, we've met people that we would never have normally met.
That's true.
Exactly.
We went up to Newcastle to what do they call that weird place we were in? Heaton Buffs.
Keaton Buffs.
Heaton Buffs, which is reckoned to be one of the poorest parts of Newcastle.
Yeah,
And they were absolutely lovely.
they're fantastic.
They were fantastic, really friendly people. And we would never have met them if it hadn't been for all this.
Yeah, exactly. It's been quite an
It's been-
interesting little journey.
Yeah.
This is one of the most important things in this journey. That me touring America. Who would have thought a 62-year-old granddad would tour America?
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
And the love that I received there was unbelievable. I signed autographs and books. I have an autobiography and I'm signing that. And I had women just coming up and crying and just saying, thank you.
Yeah.
You saved my life. And I'm like, I just think I'm just Charlie.
Exactly.
But when you realize you've had that massive impact on people's lives,
yeah.
Just keeping them calm in a crazy, crazy world.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll tell you a little story. When I was in Nashville, the home of music, the boys took me down. I grew up in a religious cult called Plymouth Brethren.
That's
And
right.
I used to play the guitar as a child growing up, and I had a Gibson Les Paul.
Oh, lovely.
wow.
Nice guitar, man.
Lovely guitar. But when I left the Plymouth Brethren in 1983, I left all that stuff behind me. The boys took me to Gibson in Nashville.
Oh, great.
And I bought myself a brand new one.
Did you really?
And they shipped it back. And just for old times' sake,
Right.
being in Gibson's showroom in Nashville, Tennessee,
Yeah, fantastic.
was just something a little bit special. And,
Absolutely.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
amazing people there.
Yeah, they are. It's and also we. I mean, I find it quite interesting that the way people are. A couple came up to us the other day, and they said, "We just want to thank you for speaking out." And
Yes.
blah, blah, blah. And then as she was leaving, she said, "Are you flat earthers?"
Oh,
One of the things I think about that is that it's really good that she is.
If she wants
Yeah.
to be,
If she wants to be, she can
that's
be.
her business. Yeah.
And she might be right.
well,
I don't
I've worked out what it is, because it will never change my life if it's round or flat. But Charlie Ward
No.
has a great life anyway.
Yeah.
I've worked out it's flound.
It's flat.
Flound.
It's flound.
Yes. Very-
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Exactly right. Flound. I think we should
It's
be flounders.
Exactly. And look, I've traveled many times on private jet where you go a lot higher than normal commercial jets, and it looks fairly flat to me.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
My
I
big
don't
problem-
know. I just don't know.
My big problem, Charlie, is the water.
Yeah,
What
I agree.
what's holding the water there? I don't.
I agree with you. The other
Yeah.
thing I published the other day, of course, this gentleman on his deathbed who said that his father created this studio where they filmed all the moon landing and stuff like that.
Oh, right. Yes,
All
yes,
this
yes.
sort of thing. It's all come from NASA. Whether
Yes.
it's the images that came from NASA, and everything else. So the moon landing, he said that, and then of course Buzz Aldrin himself said, of course, we never went there.
I know. I saw that. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it? I mean,
I-
really.
Look, I've listened to both sides of the coin. The one thing that you and I will probably agree on is the fact that if somebody makes fun of you for saying something, they're generally covering something up.
Yes, absolutely right. That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they're prepared to debate it with you, like real men,
Yeah.
sit down and talk about it. Let's talk.
Yes.
I've always said, if you find something that I've said that's wrong, come to me and tell me. Let's sit down and talk about men. We'll
100%.
both grow then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with that. There's particularly social media is the perfect platform for people to have anonymous digs, spread their lives information without actually being accountable, or as you say, being a man and just coming up and have a conversation.
Also, we've got into the kind of mental place where if you differ from somebody, they don't want to sit down and talk to you about it or find out what you think and all that. They're not.
Well, cancel you.
They just want to stop, deplatform you, cancel you. It's a very odd. I think it was probably going on before, but it seemed to me to be the seeds of it you could see during the Brexit thing. Where if you were pro-Brexit, you were a gammon, you were a jingoistic fascist, blah, blah, blah. Nobody was really interested in it really in terms of trying to understand what was really going on. It split into two very distinct
very
groups
divisive,
and very tribal. And I think maybe that's where this all comes from. But we, as Fred says, we've been cancelled a million times in the last couple of years from all sorts of things to do with music and to do with promotion and everything else, and movies. So it's an extraordinary time. And also you have to, because it's happened and we've kind of got used to it. We forget how extraordinary it is that I think it was in the Czech Republic. You were, if you agreed to get the jab, you were given 30 minutes with your favorite prostitute.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean ridiculous, isn't it?
It's mental. It's absolutely.
I bet she was busy.
Oh, I know.
That's what I do miss about touring. We used to meet some really interesting people.
Yeah.
And I actually miss that more than the shows, probably. The different people we meet are fascinating. And
Have you toured in Japan?
Yeah, we did briefly. Yeah, we did a short run. We
You're promoting more than anything.
Yeah, we were. We've been. I can't remember how long ago it was. Quite a long time ago. Most of our markets are US and Central Europe, really.
Yeah.
Well, we did a signing in Japan, And the guy came up to us and said, would it be okay as the girls walk past if they just touched your head?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So he said, why would they do that? And he said, well, they all have exams tomorrow and it's good luck if you touch
Good luck.
your head.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you that question.
Right.
That's right. They just pat you on the head.
They
do.
on the head. It's good luck, apparently.
Yeah, they were lovely, actually. Yeah, very, very
They all failed, though.
I bet they didn't.
There's a lawsuit.
Yeah, there's a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're in an amazing time. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me, because
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure, Charlie.
Charlie.
I think this wakes people up more than anything to the truth.
Yes,
Yes.
it does.
And,
I agree.
if we can have a
I agree.
bit of fun, and there's two ways you can wake people up. You can do it like Andrew Tate and chuck a bucket of cold water over somebody's head,
Yes,
That's
or
my
you
point.
can just gently tease it out of them with humour, with music and everything else.
that's my.
And this is the way that we'll bring people, wake people up with a smile on
Yes.
their face, and with some really good music to
Absolutely
enjoy.
right.
That
Yeah,
we're far
exactly.
too sexy for COVID.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
100%.
100% is true.
That is true. Absolutely.
Well, guys, thank
Thanks,
you.
Charlie.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Charlie. Thank